Hello students, I am Dr. Shazia Rahman, Assistant Professor, Department of Advertising and Marketing Management, Patna Women's College, Autonomous. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about communication and its vital role in an organization. There are different definitions of communication. Kit Davis, he says, communication is a process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. William Newman and Charles Summer, he says communication is an exchange of ideas, facts, opinions or emotions of two or more persons. Peter Little, he says communication is a process by which information is transmitted between individuals and or organization so that an understanding response results. The various characteristics of communications are as following. We say communication is such a vital part of each of us that it contributes heavily to the success or failure of every human activity. Communication is the process through which two or more persons exchange ideas and understanding among themselves. There is something which is transmitted such as information, ideas, feelings, etc., which is the subject matter of communication. In order that the process of communication is completed, two parties are involved, that is the sender of the subject matter of communication and its receiver. The process of communication is completed through various elements of communication, which are as following. If we say sender, the sender is the person who contact other person with the objective to pass the message. The message is the feeling, or you can say thought or idea, which is expressed to communicate, which is intended to be passed to the receiver from the sender. Encoding. Encoding is the process of converting the message into meaningful symbols. Now the channel. Channel, it is the medium or mean, you can say, or manner or method through which a message is sent to intended receiver. Now who is receiver? Receiver is the person to whom we send the message. Decoding. Decoding is that part where the receiver converts the received symbols transmitted by the sender into message. Now the most essential feedback. Feedback is very essential for communication. Now we see the symbols of the communication, which comprises of word, action and picture. Among these three, the word is the strongest and mostly used one. Communication is considered to be vital to any organization as it performs various functions such as it helps in passing information, giving command and instruction. Through effective communication, we can influence the group members and work can be coordinated easily. Now we will discuss the various types of communication, which are as following. Firstly, we will see oral and written communication. Oral communication is easy, effective and it gives instant feedback, whereas it has certain demerits that it cannot be stored for future and it is time consuming. But when we see written communication is authentic in nature and can be stored for future reference, but it has certain demerits that it is costly and it lacks secrecy. The second type is formal and informal communication. Formal communication is deliberately created and is authentic in nature. It flows officially prescribed channel, and the main motive behind the formal communication is to achieve the goal of the organization. Formal communication has certain limitations that it is quite slow because the message may pass through a number of management levels, whereas informal communication supplements formal communication and it is created because of the human, or you can say social interaction. Now if we say too much of informal communication can be harmful for organization because it can create a mess in the organization. Now if we say the communication on the basis of direction, that can be bifurcated into downward, upward and horizontal. Downward communication flows from superior to subordinate. If we talk about upward, it flows from subordinate to superior, and horizontal is that type of communication where the flow of information is between persons of the same hierarchical level. Now we are going to discuss about various barriers of communication. The first type is semantic barrier, which comprises of symbols with different meanings. Communication symbols usually have a variety of meaning, and we have to choose one which creates or which suits the situation, meaning for the situation. Badly expressed message. This may happen because of wrongly chose words, omission of keywords, awkward sentence structure, etc. Technical jargons. Technical terms are words and phrases. Technical jargons, you can say, are the words and phrases used in specialized field. If sender use technical jargons that for specialized field with which the receiver is not aware, the message becomes meaningless. Now, faulty translation. Sometimes message is received in one language but needs to be translated into another language for wider circulation. If this translation is faulty, the whole meaning of the original message is lost. The another type of barrier is psychological barrier, which includes premature evaluation, inattention, loss of transmission, and poor retention and distrust of the communicator. The third type of barrier, which is related to organization, which can be related to organizational policies, rule and regulation, the status relationship between superior and subordinate, complicity in the organizational structure, and at last we are going to discuss how we can overcome these barriers. For overcoming these barriers, the first thing we need to see is the clarity in idea. The idea should be clear in the mind of the sender about the message he or she wants to communicate. The purpose of communication should be clear in the mind of the sender. Empathy in communication, which is very important because sender should understand the receiver's point of view so that the misunderstanding can be avoided. There should be two-way communication. Appropriate language should be used by the sender, and the words, or you can say the symbols, should be properly used, means the words should be supported with action. The communication should be credible, means there should be credibility in communication, and the most important is that good listening. By following these steps, we can overcome barriers. So I end up with the lecture. Thank you everyone.